Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mesilat Yesharim, the second class. We did the introduction last week, and now we're going to be starting Perek Aleph. Before we start Perek Aleph, I want to just do a quick review over, what are we talking about over here? What is the book of Mesilat Yesharim? Essentially, it's a book called The Path of the Just, that's translated into English, written by the Ramchal, which is Rabbi Moses Haber Luzzatto. And he wrote it in the 1700s. Very interesting that he was born in Italy. He moved to Frankfurt, went to Amsterdam, and then finally settled in Sfat, where he passed away. He lived for a certain amount of years and passed away. Only very young when he passed away when he was 40. He had a very, very short life, but he wrote seminal books that are used till today in order to really understand a lot of things about Musar and about our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why did he write the book? He wrote the book because he wanted to provide us with a meaningful life, an experience that is really more than doing the mitzvot, but also give us a framework for how to live our life with certain goals in order to give us meaning and purpose. And that's essentially what today's Perek is about. So if we look, just a few words of review, and in the introduction, the Ramchal explains to us there's something more than doing the mitzvot, and he brings this out from a pasuk in Devarim. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Ve'ata Yisrael ma Adonai Elohecha shoel me'imach." What does Hashem ask of you? It says, "Ki'im," only something very small. "Le'yir'a et Adonai Elohecha, la'lechet b'chol derachav, le'ahaba oto, לעבוד את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך, לשמור את מצוות אדוני ואת חוקותיו." So last week we told a story between a Hacham and a Hasid. The Hacham, his goal is to do the Shemirat HaMitzvot. The Hasid's goal is what we're going to call first principle. That Shemirat HaMitzvot is one component of the pasuk that Moshe says Hashem asks of you. But there's also four other perspectives. There's Yir'ah, there's awe, there's to imitate God and walk in his ways, to love God and to serve God with all your heart. That's what we spoke about last week. And if you live a life only about Shemirat Mitzvot, the Chassid would say, you're missing out on such a meaningful motivator, a meaningful framework to fit the mitzvot within. So you can't just say, I'm going to follow halakha, I'm going to read Shulchan Aruch, and that's going to be enough. There's much more than that. There's a deeper relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu beyond following the mitzvot. The mitzvot are essential, but there's a whole framework and a mindset that you wake up in the morning with that allows you to do the mitzvot, to practice the mitzvot with so much more meaning. That was last week's introduction Perek, and now we're going to begin Perek Aleph, the first Perek of Mesilat Yesharim. And the title of today's Perek is Bibi'ur Kelal Chovat Ha'adam Be'olamo. Hang on one second. Every time we teach on Zoom, the guard makes sure to come around and use the blower, so it's a little bit difficult. So today's Perek we'll discuss is concerning man's duty or a person's duty in this world. What is the purpose for your life today? Why are you living? So I'm going to ask you this question. If you think about your life, however old you are, it makes a dramatic difference in your life whether you have a purpose-driven life or a goal-oriented life. Let me give you an example. If you have a purpose-driven life, it helps you have a focus and gives you a drive to do certain things. So depending on what that purpose is, it's going to make sure that you don't get sidetracked with silliness along the way, and it's going to motivate you in order to try to achieve a certain purpose. We know many people who have goal-oriented lives. Sometimes those people, their goal in life is their body. And everything they do, from eating to exercising to drinking to working, everything they do is with one goal, is to achieve a perfect body. We know other people that their goal in life is money. And they make sure that everything they do, from the time they even go into college, there are certain people who are very, very successful today because they had a goal early on and they made sure to take the courses, to get the career, to get into the school, to get into and to have those the internships that allow them to have a successful monetary career because they had a goal. Some people have goals when it comes to ego, that they need to feel good, they need to feel important, they need to feel above, and they make sure that all the decisions and all of the work that they do feed that goal. Some people have families. Family is most important to them. So there's no doubt that a person who has a purpose-driven life or a person who has a goal-oriented life is very, very successful, in quotation marks, because they wake up in the morning and they know what they're living for. So the question that I have for you, the question that Hal has for you, the question that the Mesilat Yesharim is asking is, what should be the purpose of your life? What should be the goal of your life? What gets you out of bed every day, right? We know that finding a purpose takes a while, right? Kids don't necessarily have this. They're told they have to go to school, right? It's concerning when we have young adults who languish at home because they're not yet having their purpose. So what they need is parents who have patience and guidance and a soft tone to make sure that give the child or the young adult the time that it takes for that child or that young adult to find their purpose in life. It's not only about getting you out of bed every day, but what is the goal that you have for yourself that sets for you the framework or the matrix that everything else fits in, right? These are very, very important questions. So I'm going to quote to you the first line of the Perek. We're not going to read, when we study together, we're not going to read line by line. I'm going to read the Perek beforehand and then break it down for you in a very easy way so that in around 20 to 30 minutes, we could complete the Perek conceptually. So the first line of the Perek says, Yesoda Hasidut, the foundation principle of piety. And the word Hasidut here is not a Hasid that lives in Williamsburg. Those people are very, very nice, but that's not who we're talking about here. Living a life of Hasidut means living a life of piety, which means of thinking really seriously about what you're doing and what you're thinking and what you're speaking about and how you're spending your time every minute. This is Yesod, the foundation of Hasidut, v'shoresh ha'avodah timimahu, that you clarify for yourself. What's your obligation in life? What's the purpose of your living? Everybody here wakes up in the morning, they go to work, they work hard, they come home, they put the check in the bank, and the question is why? Why do you do it? To pay the bills? Is that the goal of life? Is just to pay bills? Is to buy and sell things? Is to consume food and sleep and just so for Judaism, for the Mesilat Yesharim, he's going to suggest that the purpose you have in life can't be something material. It can't be a material thing. Why? What do we know about all material things? All material things eventually break down. Right? If the purpose in your life is to build a McMansion, you need to know that the second that you walk into that McMansion, it's going to begin to depreciate. The walls are going to lack the same luster that they had on the first day that you walked into the house. They're going to need painting one day. You're going to need a plumber one day. You're going to need an electrician one day. All physical things, all material things need constant maintenance. So can that really be the goal, the purpose of life, is to achieve material wealth or to collect material? We know that physical things don't last. Can the purpose of a Jewish life, can the goal in a Jewish life be the self? Can it be the ego? We say no, it can't be all about you. Even though we say, for me the world was created That's not the reason why you get out of bed every day. That cannot be the reason, because we know through unfortunate events in history where humans did the wrong things, we know that an ego that is unrestricted is very, very dangerous. A self that its only goal is to achieve, right, importance, is very, very dangerous, because it's going to allow itself certain things that are going to end up hurting other people. So really what we have to ask ourselves as the question is, what is beyond material? What is beyond the self? So we're going to suggest that what the purpose of a Jew's life is, it's something ethereal. It's something sublime. The goal has to be something, this is what the Ramchal says, something worthy enough for the soul that is so kadosh to be placed in the physical body. Now, why was that soul taken from? Nobody knows how it works. There's a lot of suggestions about how it works. But let's say it's a part of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Let's say Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the soul. Let's say it was pure when that soul was created. And again, I don't know. Nobody knows too much about it. But the purpose of your life must be important enough to say that the soul was stuck in that physical form to do something really, really important. The question is, what is that? Right? The purpose of your life must be something that lasts longer than, let's say, how long do people live today? 80, 70, 80, 90 years old, right? Hopefully it's healthy. Hopefully it's happy. Any times it's not healthy and happy. So what's the purpose of life? Can it be only for physicality and for the self, if that's only lasts 70 to 80 to 90 years? Can the purpose in life be something to just because you're going to enjoy things from here to there? I mean, yes, we all like a cup of coffee in the morning, but that only lasts for 10 minutes. That can't be the purpose of your life, to enjoy, to eat food, or to have a drink, or to have a smoke. All those things are very, very, very temporary. Has to be a reason why Hakadosh Baruch Hu took the soul and put it in this body. Now, if you think about it, the Ramchal gives a metaphor, beautiful story. He says, let's say a man from the city decides to date the king's daughter, the princess. And he says, you know what, princess? I love you so much. I'm going to give you everything I have in my house. So he packs up everything he has in his house. He puts it on the back of a cart. He's leading his donkey. He goes to the palace. He says to the princess, here is everything I have. It's going to pale in comparison to anything the princess has used. If you want to say the soul, right, which was close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, created purely, is going to be happy with a person who his body is stuck into, that he goes to work every day, comes home every day, he has some materials. No, he's not going to be happy with that. So it's concerning, right? It's really concerning. What is the purpose of life? So we're going to quote David HaMelech for the answer. It's a beautiful pasuk. I love this pasuk. The first part of the pasuk is what is quoted in the Mesilat Yesharim. David HaMelech says, "Va'ani, as for me, kirbat Elohim li tov." You know what's good for me? To be close to God. Period. To be close to God. That is what is good for me. Being close to God. He doesn't say in this world or the next world. He says, if I live my daily life being close to God, that is my purpose in life. That is my goal in life. Now, how does one become close to God? He has to do those things that we mentioned last week, those first principles. Yir'ah, ahava, avodah, shilimut halev, the mitzvot. So if you ask yourself the question, what should be the purpose of my life? And we already know that it would be silly to suggest that the soul, something that's so pure, should be put into a body. It has to be more important. My duty in life has to be more important than just my career and just my body and just myself. David HaMelech says, I know what it is. It's to be close to God. That is a worthy reason for the soul to be placed into the body. So now we have to ask ourselves a question. This is a big question, right? If being close to God is the purpose of life, then ask yourself the question, why do I need a body? Why did God waste the body? Just if the soul is already close to God when it's in this the dimension. Again, I don't understand these things. Why put it in the body? Why is the body necessary? We know that the body oftentimes is the reason for sin. But that's really the answer. The soul can't do a mitzvah either without the body. So yes, it's true that the body is oftentimes a reason for sin, but it's also the reason times and the only way for the soul to do good. Okay? This is an extraordinary thing. The body is nothing without the soul, because the body wouldn't have any direction. And the soul is nothing without the body, because there would be no tool for the soul to do any good. So let's say we explain, as Harambam explains. Ha'adam lo nivra ela lehit'aneg al Adonai v'lehenot miziv shechinato. It's a famous statement in the Gemara. Shezeu ha'ta'anug ha'amiti. I'm going to read it in English. Behold, what our sages of blessed memory have taught us is that a man was created solely to delight in Hashem and to derive pleasure in the radiance of the Shekhinah. For this is the only true delight and the greatest pleasure that can possibly exist, greater than anything. Now, what is this pleasure? When is this pleasure? Where is this pleasure going to take place? The term that is used in Mesilat Yesharim, which is a very confusing term, is Olam Haba. Olam Haba. Now, we don't know what Olam Haba is, right? The words Olam Haba do not appear anywhere in Tanakh, but the rabbis, after the Tanakh was completed, began talking a lot about Olam Haba. What is it? Is up to it's up to a bunch of different opinions. The majority opinion is that Olam Haba is a place, not a physical place, but a spiritual place that you get to after your body dies. Your soul goes to Olam Haba. That's the majority opinion. So there's even a machloket about that. Some opinions say that immediately after you die, that's when you get Olam Haba. There's another opinion that says you die, all people who die in a certain specific time period go to a holding place, and then when Mashiach comes, those souls go to Olam Haba. So it's a question of time and it's a question of place. But there's a minority opinion, which is also important to state, that Olam Haba is not necessarily after you die. It's a state of mind and a state of being even when you are alive. It's an interesting point. Again, it's a super minority opinion. But the key point with the common denominator with all these opinions, the main point when we say the word Olam Haba is not the word Olam. The word Haba is the common denominator, meaning it is after now. That means what Ramchal is saying is if the greatest pleasure and the greatest delight that a person could have is in Olam Haba, it means that whatever you do now, today, affects later. That could be later today, it could be later tomorrow, it could be later after you die, it could be later when the Mashiach comes. But you need to know that everything you do now affects your identity for whether you are going to take delight in connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu later. That's the point. And it's very, very important because we have this problem today with a lot of people in the world. A lot of people in the world can't wait for things. They can't wait for the Haba. They want instant gratification. So Judaism is suggesting here that you really need to work on yourself, because the odds are is that what you do now is going to pay off later. It's very hard for a lot of people to hear, because we live in a time and an age now where we don't want to wait for things. So none of us wait for our crops to grow, except if we planted a small garden a few months ago and we're waiting for the tomatoes to grow. Most of us don't have to wait too long for payoffs. Right? We get our monthly, our bi-monthly checks. So the issue of instant gratification is a question here. Now, I want to mention something that's very, very important. I think people often miss this point. When I say Olam Haba, that the purpose of life is to get Olam Haba, it doesn't mean that now is not also a wonderful experience when you're alive. Right? Olam Haba for a Jew doesn't mean have a life that's devoid of pleasure and delight now because you're only waiting for then. No. That is not our opinion at all. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to enjoy our Olam Hazeh. And you can derive tremendous pleasure from family and friends and food and money in Olam Hazeh. But the point that the Ramchal is making over here is that your goal, your final goal, your destination in life is to make sure that all the processes that you go through lead up to getting more of that goal. Not to let what's happening now be an end in itself. Everything is a means to an end. Everything is a means to an end. So I'm not suggesting here that we should explain that Ramchal is saying nothing matters now, only Olam Haba matters. That's an unfortunate explanation that a lot of people do. A lot of people explain this as all you have to care is Olam Haba and not Olam Hazeh. That's not the way we explain it. Olam Hazeh is a medium, is a vehicle, is a tool for getting to Olam Haba. And that's what the Ramchal brings in a Mishnah from Pirkei Avot. Come look at the screen. Is ha'olam hazeh domeh leprosdor b'fnei ha'olam haba. Right, if you're looking at the screen, this world is a hallway to get to Olam Haba. Now, somebody mentioned it to me yesterday, my friend Sammy, that realize that the Mishnah Pirkei Avot says prosdor, a hallway, which of course a hallway means that you're going from point A to point B. You have to go through the hallway. It's very different than the doctor's waiting room, right? Other religions view this world as a waiting room. You sit and you wait to be called out to the next room. It's an extraordinary point. Extraordinary point. The way we look at it is that this world is a prosdor, is a hallway. And it's a totally different way of looking at now. Is now a process or is it a destination? So we really, really want you to think about your life as a process oriented. What I like to explain is you're always in a state of becoming. You're always in a state of process, of becoming something next. Haba, 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 haba. And hopefully, every step that you're taking in this hallway, you're getting closer and closer to the end. If you look at the slide, there's a light at the end of the hallway. The point of Mesilat Yesharim is saying here is that make sure that what you're doing now is not an end in itself. Make sure that every decision that you're making now leads to another step towards the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said before, be happy now. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the choices that you're making now. But the beauty of the hallway is that it's going to remind you not to get sidetracked. Right? If you wake up every morning, you say, I want to get to the end of the hallway. Throughout your day, you're going to have challenges, right? You're going to be confronted with many, many choices. And if you look at your life as a hallway, you should ask yourself, is the choice that I'm making now to do X or Y, does that to have the goal in mind of getting through to Olam Haba, to getting to that final delight? The hallway may also make sure that I'm not going to get sidetracked by materialism, by my ego, by myself, by any fears. If you live with this process-oriented life, you're going to be courageous to make sure to make your choices always moving forward. And the Ramchal says, look, it's going to be a milchama because your soul is stuck in your physical body. You're going to have what he called ta'avot chumriyot. Ta'avot chumriyot are physical desires, whether that's physical or ego. And the Ramchal says you need to fight valiantly, and you need to be courageous in the confrontation between the wills. Which wills? Your will and God's will, right? A lot of times we wake up in the morning, we don't have the right mindfulness. We say, what's important for me to do today? It's my will. Well, that's getting sidetracked, right? That your will is not going to lead, is not a process-oriented life. So your will is only about meeting your desires now. But if you have God's will in mind, you'll be part of this beautiful process. Another point that I thought about when I was preparing is remember that the beauty of being alive and your soul being in your body is that you need the body to achieve greatness. So you have to remember that the world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created is here to help you succeed in getting closer to Hashem, because you can only get closer to Hashem by doing good, by doing more mitzvot. Don't let the world be the reason for you to get further away from Hashem. Right? So let me just repeat that again. I think it's important. Remember that Hashem created the world to help you succeed getting closer to Him. Like David HaMelech said. Don't let the world, the beautiful world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, be the reason for you to be further away from God, which a lot of times we do. We're losing the battle, we're losing the milchama, and we're allowing ourselves to get sidetracked. And that's the beauty, and that's what the Ramchal brings in now, is the beauty of the mitzvot. The mitzvot, all 613, 248 positive, 65 negative. The mitzvot will give it to us as a system to balance the mind and the body, the soul and the body. That balance, right? That balance is very, very important. It helps guide us through our choices, right? I was reading an op-ed article by David Brooks once, 10 years ago. He says, yeah, it's possible, it might be possible for mankind to create his own system of laws. But it's going to take thousands upon thousands and thousands of years for mankind to adopt, to perfect that system of laws, to make sure that all people are going to be treated equally and fairly, and all people have an opportunity for success. So David Brooks says it's much easier to just adopt a religion that we know has been very, very successful doing that. So mitzvot are the system for which we can achieve greatness, and when we're walking through the pros door, through the. So I want to end with this statement, right? And this is what the Ramchal finishes the Perek with. This is Kilalo Shel Davar. General principle of this matter is Ha'adam lo nevra ba'abur matzavo ba'olam hazeh. Man was not created simply for this world. Like again, we'll ask the question: can't it be possible that the soul that was so great was just shoved in the body only to stay here for 60, 70, 80 years? It's not enough. It's not a good enough reason. What's a good reason? Ela ba'abur matzavo ba'olam haba. Right, in order to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the next world. Again, what next means, we're unsure of. Doesn't mean after you die. It could be when you're alive. A lot of different opinions. But don't denigrate the time that you're here. Don't put it down. Don't put down Olam Hazeh. הוא אמצעי למצבו בעולם הבא שהוא תכליתו. Right? עולם הזה is the means towards his state in the world to come, which is the ultimate purpose. That means, and I'll give a metaphor here, like when you want to go to a stadium to see a show, you need to pay a certain amount of money. And depending on that amount of money is the seat that you're going to get. So I'm not familiar with these, but there's colors, right? There's red seats, there's green seats, there's yellow seats, there's blue seats, there's purple seats. So your life in this world is dedicated to getting the best seat possible in Olam Haba. That's essentially what we're saying. And that is your duty. Right? We started the classes, what's man's purpose in world? What's man's purpose in life? What should be man's goal in life? It is to make sure that he's always going towards the goal of getting close to Hashem. Where is the closest you could get to Hashem? In Olam Haba. What Olam Haba is, we said it's up to multiple things. The best system to use in order to get close enough to Hashem is the system of the mitzvot. Now, what's interesting is that the Ramchal in the next Perek is not going to talk about specific mitzvot. We're not going to learn halakha together. We're going to give ourselves a framework, a mindset, in order to achieve a purpose-driven life. And so that next week we're going to explain the first step in the Beraita that's quoted from Pinchas ben Yair in the Gemara. The first step is called Zehirut. Zehirut is being watchful. First step out of the gate, if a person wants to live a purpose-driven life or a goal-oriented life to get close to Hashem, is you need to consider being watchful. Watchful of what? You'll have to stay tuned to next week's class. I hope to see you there. Please invite your friends to come. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those questions now.